Chapter 91. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Finally, we made it to the refresh point, a small puddle in the reef area near the tidal flats. Chu Yang opened the treasure chest. Black iron treasure chest opened. Reward, random spawn of ordinary marine creatures for harvesting. Capture window, 180 minutes. He glanced at the light shimmering over the puddle. Today's haul was definitely here. He pulled out his cell and called Sun Qingjun to explain the situation. This time, he didn't have to make up an excuse. Sun Qingjun was happy to help. Hey, Uncle Jun, can you grab another water pump? The tide's coming in soon, and I'm worried we won't have enough time. Chu Yang reminded him. Don't worry about borrowing one, I've got a spare at the house. I'll just bring it with me. Before long, Sun Qingjun pulled up to the puddle on his three-wheeled motorcycle. Chu Yang stepped in to help, and together they unloaded the 2 water pumps and a full can of diesel fuel from the truck bed. They connected the pipes, cranked the engines, and soon both pumps were chugging away, draining the puddle into the sea. While the pumps ran, Chu Yang grabbed a hook and his sister, Chu Shi, and they started poking around to see what else they could find. It just went to show, without the system's help, you weren't going to find anything special. After walking back and forth for a few hundred yards, all the brother and sister found were some mussels and clams, worth maybe 20 or 30 bucks. Chu Yang had seen a lot of oysters, but they weren't even worth the effort to pick up. Most people think of oysters as big, palm-sized shells filled with milky white meat, but those are farmed oysters. The wild ones around here are tiny. The big ones are only the size of the bottom of a beer bottle, and some are just the size of the cap, with hardly any meat inside. The big ones might sell for a few bucks each. You're better off picking up clams and stir-frying them with chili oil, perfect with a cold beer. After wandering around for a while, the brother and sister came back to the waterhole empty-handed. The water level in the pit had dropped a lot, and the reefs in the middle were sticking out. They should be able to start fishing in half an hour. Splash! Something moved in the water. The fish in the hole were spooked and started darting around. Whatever it was big. Sea bass, Sun Qingjun said, pointing to a gray fish with black spots. There really are fish. Let's get them, bro. Chu Shi was already holding her small net, ready to go. Hold your horses, Sun Qingjun chuckled. There's still too much water. You're not as fast as they are in the water. Another half-hour later, with both pumps running, the water had been nearly drained, revealing a wide area of muddy sand at the bottom of the hole. Chu Yang, with a half-smoked cigarette in his mouth, pulled on some gloves, grabbed his net, and jumped into the puddle. Time to start fishing. Fishy, fishy, here I come. Jump right into the net. Chu Shi rolled up her sleeves and started splashing the water with her rubber boots. The point was to stir up the mud, making the fish panic and easy to catch. Fish in troubled waters, right? Ah! Brother, look what I caught. The fish were packed pretty tight in the puddle. Chu Yang had barely blown a smoke ring when he heard Chu Shi cheering. He looked up and saw a palm-wide, black-scaled fish struggling in Chu Shi's net. Its scales were as black and shiny as obsidian in the sun. Not bad, that's worth some real money. Nice catch. Throw it in the truck bed quick. Sun Qingjun had lined the truck bed with tarpaulin, filled it with seawater, and hooked up an oxygen pump to make a temporary fish tank. Xiaoame had already opened the store, so Chu Yang couldn't slack off. He stepped into the water and started driving the fish. Suddenly, he saw something move on the water's surface to his left. Quick as a flash, he thrust his net into the water and lifted. Hey, black and white. Seeing what he'd caught, Chu Yang grinned. A sea bass, weighing 2 or 3 pounds, and a black porgy, over a pound. Not as valuable as the black-scaled one, but still a good haul. Sun Qingjun was having some luck too, and every now and then he'd carry his net bag to the shore and dump the fish into the truck bed. It was slow going at first, but catching speed picked up quickly. Soon, they had caught almost all the fish from the bottom of the pit. Chu Yang figured they had at least 200 pounds of fish. Besides the black-scaled ones, there were some decent croakers and red snappers, but the biggest surprise was the 4 or 5 pufferfish they caught. They were all puffed up, floating on the water like spiky little balls, staring with their tiny, round eyes. Before he got transported, he'd seen them online. Apparently, they had sharp teeth and often bit through fishing lines, so a lot of fishermen hated them. If they caught one, they'd use it to scrub their shoes. "Uncle June, do we have pufferfish around here?" Chu Yang asked curiously. "That's not a pufferfish. It's a porcupine fish. A pufferfish's spines aren't that long." Chu Yang took a closer look and saw that these fish were a little different than what he remembered. "Is it poisonous?" Sun Qingjun looked at him, understanding what he was getting at, and chuckled. "You want to know if it tastes good, right? I've heard it's delicious, but I've never tried it, wouldn't dare to. Heard there are restaurants in Huadu and Xiangjiang that specialize in it, and charge a fortune." "Never mind," Chu Yang said, even though he was curious, he didn't want to risk poisoning himself just to find out. If he kicked the bucket now, who knew if he'd be lucky enough to get transported again. "Oh, wait, we could give them to the town canteen. They must have someone who knows how to handle these things," Chu Yang suggested. "Yeah, let's do that. Those officials probably love eating weird stuff and aren't afraid of getting poisoned." Sun Qingjun agreed. "Why do you say that?" Chu Yang asked. "Only the good die young, the wicked live to be old. Chu Yang, careful there, Uncle June, your ideas are a bit too dangerous." After catching all the fish, the three of them weren't in a hurry to leave. There were still a few rocks at the bottom of the pit. Who knew what treasures might be hiding under them? "Uncle June, give me a hand." Chu Yang walked over to the biggest rock and tried to push it. It budged, but it was too heavy to move on his own, so he called for Sun Qingjun. Heave ho, heave ho. With a combined effort, they managed to flip the rock over. Chu Shi, who had been waiting nearby, quickly squatted down to search. "Oh, there really is something. A big one." She started digging at the raised mud and sand under the rock, and soon, a yellow-brown, smooth shell, bigger than her face, appeared. Chu Shi grabbed the edge of the shell and pulled it up. Attached to it was a fat, oval crab. "Holy mackerel! Look at the size of that king crab!" Sun Qingjun exclaimed. Chapter 92. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The brown crab, what the locals call manta crab, gets its name from its shape. It's round, looking like a bread roll, or a big manta bun, but these crabs are way more valuable than mantu. They've got the richest crab roe of any crab out there, so they fetch a high price, right up there with blue crabs. A live one weighing over 2 pounds goes for about $20, like the big one Chu Shi found, weighing over 4 pounds. That's a $40 to $60 crab right there. Crabs usually hang out in groups. "Let's look around, see if there are any more," Sun Qingjun said, already itching to start searching himself. A few minutes later, he pulled another brown crab out of the sand. Smaller than Chu Shi's, but still over 2 pounds, they quickly flipped over the remaining stones. The brown crab family living in that little pool got wiped out. Every last one of them ended up in the guy's net bags. When they finally counted, there were 11 brown crabs, big and small, with 5 or 6 of them weighing over a pound. "We totally cleaned out that crab condo today," Sun Qingjun said, grinning ear to ear. They'd haul in at least a couple $1,000s from this one spot. Making money like that was a dream. Chu Yang stayed calm. Aside from discovering the new crab species, this haul was just okay. Last time, that pit coughed up a black treasure chest and a manta ray they sold for 60 grand. Hey, be happy with what we got. That manta ray would have been worth a few bucks at the market. If it hadn't been for Professor Zhu, the good sucker. Sun Qingjun laughed. Just say he's a sucker, no need to beat around the bush. He's not here to hear us, Chu Yang replied. They shot the breeze for a while, then dusted themselves off and hopped back on the tricycle to head home. Hey, Dajuan, Yang, you hit up the watering hole again? Find anything good? Along the way, villagers they knew kept stopping them, curious about their haul, but Chu Yang, always one to keep a low profile, wasn't about to stir up envy. Nah, just some small fish, he answered casually. a few old biddies who didn't get the info they wanted grumbled some sour comments like, "Why the act? Just dumb luck, and that kid's got no vision." But did Chu Yang care? Please. Those tough old broads in the village would twist anything you said, no matter how nice you were. Riding back to the village, as he was passing Aunt Zhang's house, Chu Yang suddenly heard a racket coming from the yard, mixed with cussing. Pulling up a bit further, he saw a crowd gathered at her gate, 3 rows deep, practically blocking the road. What a scene! Sun Xiang was watching too, but being a little kid, he couldn't squeeze through the crowd of men and women. He was standing on tiptoe, trying to get a peek. Chu Yang hopped off the trike, walked over, and slapped him on the head. "What are you gawking at? So many people." Sun Xiang started to get mad, but when he turned and saw it was his buddy, he quickly smiled and replied, "Fight." Chu Yang raised an eyebrow. "What kind of fight?" "Aunt Zhang and your aunt are going at it." Ants are usually called ants here, and the ant here is the eldest ant, Relaxation. Her. Chu Yang perked up. "What are they fighting about?" Sun Xiang snickered. Aunt Zhang was telling everyone that he Yangfan's a perv, running around naked on the beach with his bare butt out, trying to get with her. Your aunt found out and went to her yard, calling her a skank. Then they started throwing punches. No kidding. Chu Yang grinned. Man, he'd fueled this fire, sweet. Being tall, he could easily see over the crowd and into the yard. Inside the courtyard, Aunt Zhang and Relaxation were locked in a brawl. Relaxation, relying on her size, had Aunt Zhang pinned down, grabbing her hair with one hand and slapping her face with the other like a machine gun. Aunt Zhang wasn't about to take it lying down. Relaxation was too big and had short hair, so she couldn't grab it. She was clawing her neck with one hand and pinching, pulling soft parts like her armpits, ribs, and chest with the other. It was fast, accurate, and brutal. Chu Yang also spotted the men from both families, along with He Yangfan and He Yuanheng standing by, looking anxious, but there wasn't much they could do. In the countryside, women's fights were usually just slapping and hair pulling. They rarely got too serious. Men were different. If they got involved and things got out of hand, it could turn into a life-or-death situation. Plus, a real man doesn't hit a woman. What if he got his butt kicked by an old lady? A quick slap is just that, but fighting can cause a real mess, and you'd never live it down. Dude, lift me up. I wanna see." Sun Xiang saw Chu Yang watching with such interest that he grabbed his arm and started yelling. "Seriously? 2 old ladies scrapping it out. What's the big deal? Have you memorized those poems?" Sun Xiang, "That's cold, why don't you worry about yourself?" "Chu Yang, I'm an adult, adults are nothing like you, a child." After saying that, he watched for a minute, then honked the horn, steered the tricycle through the crowd, and went home. In the yard, Chu Yang picked out the 2 biggest black crabs, set aside 4 more of the bigger crabs to put in the pond, and packed the rest in bags, filling them with oxygen. "Let's go, June, let's head into town." Natudu is part of Shirtang town, and the town hall is located on Shirtang Island. Even though both are islands, Shirtang Island is way bigger than Juiri Island. It covers over 2,500 acres and has a permanent population of over 10,000, so it's pretty bustling. You could tell just by looking at the docks. Hundreds of meters of docks jutted out into the ocean. Dozens of fishing boats of all sizes were docked on both sides, including some ocean-going trawlers over 100 feet long. Chu Yang and Sun Xiang took a small sampan, found an empty spot to park, paid the docking fee, and then went ashore with baskets full of crabs, heading toward the town hall not far from the docks. What they didn't notice was that as they stepped onto the dock, a cold gaze followed them. "Boss, that kid had the nerve to come here. Should we take care of him?" A skinny guy with beady eyes asked. "Hold your horses. Let's see what they're up to first," Yuan sneered, each word dripping with malice. Ever since Chu Yang blew him off during that trip to Falling Sun Island, he'd been holding a grudge against the kid. There wasn't much he could do on the island, but now Chu Yang had walked right into his territory. Yuan wasn't stupid. He was cautious. Even if he wanted revenge, he needed to know the situation first. Soon, the goon came back. Boss, they took the fish to the town hall. They must be trying to sell it to the canteen. Oh, Gu Yuan smiled. A very cold smile, selling fish? In Shirtang? He thought so. Did that kid not know that he, Gu Yuan, was the sole supplier of seafood to the town hall canteen? That damn kid. Chapter 93. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At the entrance to the Shirtang town government building, the security guard in uniform was busy keeping a sharp eye on everyone coming and going. Suddenly, he spotted two guys dressed like fishermen heading his way, each carrying bamboo poles. Hold it right there. What's your business? He barked, acting like he was guarding the pearly gates of heaven. Hey there, officer, have a smoke. We're dropping off some fish for the cafeteria. Sun Qingjun stepped forward with a smile, offering the guard a cigarette. This wasn't like the civilized, law-abiding world of the future. Forget about all that. Don't think this guy's just a rent-a-cop. I'll get through to him one way or another. Luckily, ever since he'd teamed up with Chu Yang, he'd been able to afford better stuff. Now he was smoking the good stuff. Sure enough, the security guard took the cigarette, glanced at it, and immediately relaxed. You're delivering fish. Different guys than usual, huh? Nope, Leader Zhu in town asked us to bring the fish to the cafeteria, Chu Yang replied smoothly. Hearing Leader Zhu's name, the old guy's face softened even more, and he grinned. Alright then, get on in there before the fish die on you. Cafeteria's down the hall on the left. Sounds good, and just like that, they were in. Following the guard's directions, they quickly found the town cafeteria. It was only around 10 a.m., but the place was already buzzing with activity. Two women were standing at a cutting board, chopping vegetables. Excuse me, who's in charge of the cafeteria here? The slightly chubby woman on the left turned around at the sound of his voice. When she saw the tall, handsome young man who'd spoken, her eyes lit up, and she asked with a smile, You need something, young man? Yeah, we're delivering some fish for the cafeteria, Chu Yang replied. Oh, you're dropping it off here? The chubby woman gave Chu Yang a once-over. You guys knew. I don't think I've seen you before. This is my first time, so you wouldn't have seen me, Chu Yang answered patiently. Alright, go on inside. Chef Ji's in the kitchen, the woman directed him. When they got to the kitchen, they found a short, stocky chef in a tall white hat, his cell phone sticking out of his pocket. Chef Go, Chu Yang called out. The short chef frowned and looked up. Who's asking? Chu Yang smiled and offered him a cigarette. I'm Chu Yang, from Nyoto Ferry. I'm here with the fish for the cafeteria. Leader Zhu told you about it. Chef Go slapped his forehead in realization. Oh, right, I remember now. Where's the fish? Outside. Come take a look, Chu Yang said politely. Chef Go nodded and followed him out of the kitchen. These were caught this morning and delivered straight here, super fresh. Sun Qingjun lifted the lid of one of the bamboo poles. Chef Go bent down, picked up a bag, and took a peek inside. Not bad, still kicking. Good. Then he started inspecting the second bag. Chu Yang had packed the fish in clear plastic bags, so you could see everything inside at a glance. There was really no need to open them, but since this was their first delivery, he figured they were just being thorough, so he didn't say anything. But as he watched the inspection, Chu Yang sensed something was up. After checking each bag, the chef deliberately didn't tie it back up, letting the water spill out. It was sweltering outside, over 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Without water, those fish would be dead in minutes. Sun Qingjun clearly noticed it too, and offered up another yellow crane tower with a smile. Chef Gu, these are all fresh-caught fish. How about we weigh the ones you've checked already? No need to rush. Just hang tight till I'm done. This is for the big shots to eat, gotta be careful. What do you fishermen know about that? With that, Gu Yuan stuck a cigarette in his mouth and kept poking around. Chu Yang started to get the picture. He grabbed the lid and covered the basket back up. What's that supposed to mean? Chef Gu asked, scowling at Chu Yang. I should be asking you what that's supposed to mean. If these fish die because you're taking your sweet time inspecting them, who's gonna take the blame? Chu Yang shot back, his good mood gone. Sure, he was friendly, even to a security guard, but if anyone thought they could push him around, they had another thing coming. If they die, they die. What do I care? Just take the dead fish back. I'm not buying them, Chef Gu said, dropping the act and sneering. How can you say that? They were fine when we brought them, and you're deliberately letting them die, then saying you don't want them, Sun Qingjun said angrily. Who's being deliberate? Watch your mouth, don't go making accusations, or I'll have the guard throw you out on your ear. The two sides were getting louder, the air thickening with tension. Just then, some familiar figure strolled over. Well, if it isn't Chu Yang from Nyoto Ferry. What a coincidence, running into you here. Gu Yuan swaggered over, his face splitting into a fake grin. He glanced at the bamboo baskets on the ground as he spoke. Selling fish, huh? He sidled up to the basket, kicked the lid off with his foot, and peered inside. Your fish ain't looking too good, all droopy and sad. Can't be bringing this kind of junk to the town cafeteria. What if it makes the big boys sick, right, brother Tai? Chef Gu snorted. That's what I said. I was just trying to help him inspect it, and he accuses me of killing his fish. I don't think I want to do business with these people again. Chu Yang looked at the two of them, working together like a well-oiled machine. Now it all made sense, so that's why the chef was giving him such a hard time. It was Gu Yuan who was behind it all. You guys. Sun Qingjun was a fisherman, he didn't take kindly to being humiliated like that. He rolled up his sleeves, ready to throw down. Chu Yang quickly stopped him. This was exactly what the other side wanted. If he attacked, he'd be playing right into Gu Yuan's hands. After all, it was just the two of them against Gu Yuan and 5 or 6 of his goons, plus Chef Gu, who was watching with a gleam in his eye. If he threw the first punch, they'd not only beat him to a pulp, but also ruin his business. Seeing Chu Yang hold Sun Qingjun back, Gu Yuan's eyes flickered with a disappointment he couldn't quite hide. But his cocky grin soon returned, and he stepped right up to Chu Yang, leaned in close to his ear, and sneered, You think you're so tough, don't you? What's the matter? Not so tough now. Mess with me, and I'll take you down with one hand tied behind my back. He let out a booming laugh. Chu Yang's expression didn't change, and he stared at Gu Yuan calmly. Suddenly, he shook his head and smiled. You think you're smart? You sure you can handle me? Don't come crying to me when you lose. Gu Yuan was stunned for a second, then he flew into a rage. This punk dared to talk to him like that? You little. He reached out, grabbing for Chu Yang's throat, but just then, a voice roared in his ears. Gu Yuan, what do you think you're doing? Chapter 94. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 10 minutes earlier, Jean led a group through the Shirtang town supermarket, supposedly checking for fire hazards. Okay, here are my 3 requirements. Yuanzhang felt his heart jump as his phone buzzed in his pocket. The boss was holding court, and someone had the nerve to call now. Sure enough, Zhang's eyes snapped over. Answer it. Being interrupted wasn't ideal, but a good leader showed some patience. Yuanzhang gritted his teeth and pulled out his phone. He breathed a sigh of relief and smiled as soon as he saw the screen. Who is it that's got you grinning like that, Yuanzhang? Secretary, it's Chu Yang, the young guy who rescued those people at the beach the other day. Oh. Zhang's eyes lit up. Well, answer it already. Right. 2 minutes later, he hung up. Secretary, Chu Yang says he wants to donate some fish to the cafeteria. Great. Get back there and take delivery. Remember to treat the people right, offer top-notch service, and make sure the price is at least market value. We don't want them taking a loss. Leader Zhang said, his face all kindness as he laid out the instructions. Yuanzhang snapped to attention. I guarantee I'll get it done. To get Yuanzhang there ASAP, Leader Zhang even gave up his own car, telling the driver to use the town's only bus to take him back. What about you, leader? Don't worry about me, I'll just bum a ride back on your scooter later. The reason? Leader Zhang was hungry for advancement. If he could buddy up with Wang's kid, he'd ride Yuan Zhang's tricycle, no problem. So, with the secretary's urgent instructions ringing in his ears, Yuan Zhang hustled back to the town hall, arriving in under 10 minutes, but before he could even get to the cafeteria, he saw something that made his blood boil. Some lowlife was picking on one of the good guys. "Gu Yuan, what the hell are you doing?" Yuan Zhang roared, his voice booming. Gu Yuan froze, then turned, his face instantly oozing with flattery. "Leader Zhu, you're here." He fumbled for a cigarette, a premium brand, no less. "Here, leader, have a smoke." Yuan Zhang waved away the cigarette, his face grim as he took in the scene. He flashed a smile at Chu Yang, then quickly masked it. "Gu Yuan, what was that all about?" "Fighting in the town hall," Yuan Zhang asked coldly, not giving Gu Yuan an inch. Gu Yuan's eyes darted around, his back bending a little further, as he offered a lame explanation. "Leader Zhu, you got it all wrong." "Wrong?" Yuan Zhang cut him off, then turned to Chu Yang with a smile. "Chu Yang, why don't you tell me what happened?" Yuan Zhang had made up his mind. He was going to back the good guy, no matter what, even if he had to cover things up a little. Chu Yang wasn't about to miss a chance to complain directly to the top. He wasn't a saint, he needed to see some payback. He laid out the whole story, no need to exaggerate, he had the truth on his side. "Gutai, is this true?" Yuan Zhang turned to Gutai, the cafeteria manager. "That's not fair, Leader Zhu. It wasn't like that, I swear. I was just being extra careful with the inspection, since it's food for the leaders, you know." Maybe this young man misunderstood. Gutai quickly defended himself. At the same time, he shot a look at Gu Yuan. "You idiot, just a small-time fisherman, and you're trying to use Leader Zhu's name. What, you two are actually buddies?" Gu Yuan's eyes flashed a message back. "I don't know him. Last time I checked, he was just some nobody fisherman, the kind with dead parents." Leader Zhu wasn't blind. He caught the whole exchange, he was a politician, after all. Clear-headed, Yuan Zhang didn't panic, he said sternly. "Looks like we need to check the security footage." To protect the leader's meals, the cafeteria's dining area and kitchen were equipped with cameras. No need, Leader Zhu. It's just a small thing, no need to make a big deal out of it." Seeing Yuan Zhang was serious, Gutai quickly tried to backpedal. "Are you kidding? The boss isn't stupid. If you pull up the footage, he'll see I was deliberately giving him a hard time." "Then tell me," Leader Zhu stared him down. "How are we going to handle this?" Gutai's back crawled with fear. He turned to Chu Yang, begging for help with a miserable look. Chu Yang smirked. What a rookie. Did he think playing the puppy dog would get him off the hook? Dream on. Gutai looked at Gu Yuan, the instigator, the ringleader. He was just an accomplice, but Gu Yuan was too smart. He sensed the shift in the wind and wanted out, fast. Leader Zhu, this doesn't involve me. I'm gonna head out. He hadn't actually laid a hand on the guy. You could only get charged with attempted murder, not attempted battery. Leader Zhu was powerful, but he couldn't touch him, but Gutai couldn't let him go. If Gu Yuan bailed, Leader Zhu's wrath would land squarely on him. Hold on, Gu Yuan. You're not going anywhere. If you hadn't called me, why would I mess with our friend Chu Yang, our friend, now, was it? Having decided to throw him under the bus, Gutai went all in, pulling out his phone to find the call log. Leader Zhu, look. Gu Yuan called me and told me to give Brother Chu a hard time. I've never even met the guy before. Why else would I go out of my way to make trouble? Yuan Zhang's face darkened. He glared at Gu Yuan, then turned his scorn on Gutai. You dimwit. You do whatever Gu Yuan tells you. Are you his puppet? That's how it worked. Township officials couldn't control the rabble if they didn't get tough. Gu Yuan wasn't part of the town, so he couldn't yell at him. But Gutai. Fair game. Leader Zhu, I messed up. Gutai hung his head, completely defeated. In his heart, his hatred for Gu Yuan tripled. After his tongue lashing, Yuanzhang turned to Chu Yang and apologized. "I'm sorry, Chu Yang. This was handled poorly." Chu Yang wasn't stupid. He wasn't about to let him off that easily. "It's not your fault, Leader Zhu. I should have called you sooner. I also want to thank you for helping my business." Yuanzhang nodded, pleased. "See? What a smooth talker, no wonder he went to college. Time to step it up a notch." He turned to Gutai. "Since you started this mess, you're going to clean it up. Weigh all the fish and pay 20% above market price. And the money comes out of your paycheck." Gutai's heart sank when he heard the verdict. Those fish were worth at least 4,000 or 5,000, and adding 20% meant he was working for free for 2 months. Damn Guyuan to hell. If I ever take another fish from him, I'll be his grandson. Chapter 95. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chu Yang got 6,425 yuan for all the fish he brought. Not bad at all. He'd figured on maybe 4,000, then Gu Yuani threw a fit, and Chu Yang walked away with an extra 2,000 plus. What a guy. But Yuanzhang wasn't satisfied. Why the odd numbers? Let's just round it to 7,000. Sun Qingjun whistled. Now he knew where Chu Yang got his rounding up skills. If you wanted to talk about sneaky tactics, these scholars were the real pros. Brother Chu Yang, no, I mean, Big Brother Chu Yang, I was totally out of line today. Please don't hold it against me. Gutai didn't hold back. Once he admitted he was wrong, he went all in. He counted out 7,000 yuan and handed it over to Chu Yang with both hands. All right. Seeing his attitude, Chu Yang took the greasy money without even counting it, stuffed it in his pocket, and smiled. Hey, Chef Gu, we didn't know each other before. No harm, no foul. It's all Gu Yuan's fault. Let's work together in the future. He reached out his hand. His teachers always said to make friends and avoid enemies, and Chu Yang agreed. That's right, it's all Gu Yuan's fault, that spineless jerk. If I ever take another fish from him, I'll be his kid. Gutai pounded his chest to show he meant it. Yuanzhang nodded to himself. Chu Yang wasn't that old, but he sure knew how to handle people. After selling the fish, Chu Yang said goodbye to Leader Zhu. Hold on, I still owe you for those lobsters from last time. He led Chu Yang and Sun Qingjun to the finance office. The town had 2 finance officers, one older and one younger. The younger one, Gao, handled Chu Yang's account. Xiao Gao, this is Chu Yang. He'll be delivering fish to the canteen regularly. You'll be in charge of payments. Settle up each time. Got it? Zhu said it personally. Xiao Gao glanced at Chu Yang, wondering who he knew that got Zhu to pull strings for him. Canteen bills in towns like this usually got paid once a month, if the leaders were feeling generous. Otherwise, it was quarterly or even twice a year. If you ran into a real jerk, you might not get paid until next year, or maybe never. He'd heard about suppliers in the next town who were owed hundreds of thousands for years, forcing them to climb on the roof just to get half of what they were owed, getting paid every time. Totally unheard of. If he had connections like that, why sell fish? He could land some real deals and make a killing. Even though he was thinking all this, Xiao Gao nodded calmly. Understood, leader. You can count on me. After instructing Gao, Yuanzhang gave Chu Yang a nod and left. Leaders have their pride, especially when it comes to their staff. Even if you wanted to get ahead, you had to play the game. Accountant Gao, glad to be working with you. Chu Yang pulled out a nice cigarette. Xiao Gao took it with both hands. Of course, of course. When Chu Yang reached for a lighter, he quickly pulled out his own. He lit Chu Yang's cigarette first, then his own. After doing the paperwork, Xiao Gao handed Chu Yang the bill and 1,000 yuan. That much? Sun Qingjun was surprised. He knew Chu Yang's flower dragon lobster only weighed a little over a pound. You could get it at a seafood store for 500 yuan, but the canteen was paying double. Chu Yang stayed cool. No big deal. Had he seen a street light that cost 50,000? Or a height restriction pole for 500,000? A lobster for 1,000 yuan, just twice the market price. That was nothing. After taking the money and receipts, Chu Yang gave Xiao Gao and the older financial officer a cigarette each and left. As he was leaving the town government, he gave the security guard a cigarette too. Wow, this young man's got manners. Government offices were always gossipy, especially after an incident at the canteen. The news that the new fish guy has some serious connections had spread. The security guard was right in the middle of it. He'd been around a long time and seen plenty of polite and capable young people come and go, but this was the first time he'd seen someone with connections this good. "See ya, uncle," Chu Yang waved. "Come back anytime. The door's always open." The guard smiled back, hauling the empty load back to the dock. Sun Qingjun steered the boat while Chu Yang sat in the cabin, enjoying the breeze. He remembered something and reached inside his jacket, pulling out a 100 yuan bill and handing 8 of them to Sun Qingjun. "Uncle Jun, this is for today." They'd silently agreed to split the profits by 10%. Sun Qingjun took the money without arguing but handed back one of the bills. "The lobster was from last time. I didn't do anything. I can't take this 100 yuan. Chu Yang smiled and put the money back in his pocket. "Yang, we just made a real enemy of Gu Yuan. You better watch your back." Sun Qingjun said. The town canteen was worth at least tens of thousands a year in profit. No small amount when most people barely made 1,000 a month. Chu Yang had just ripped a big chunk out of Gu Yuan's hide. No way he'd be happy about it. "He won't scare me on land, but I hope he tries something at sea. I've been itching to test out my new bow." "Bow? What kind? Is that even legal?" Sun Qingjun didn't know Chu Yang had been preparing for trouble and had weapons ready. "It's legal, and it packs a punch. I'll take you to a range sometime." "Awesome. I've never been to one of those places. I heard you can shoot pistols there." "Chu Yang, Uncle Jun, are you hitting on me? Why did you let Gutai off so easy today? I thought you'd beat him senseless with that temper of yours." Sun Qingjun changed the subject. Chu Yang blew a smoke ring and shook his head. "Uncle Jun, you were there. What did you think of the relationship between Gutai and Leader Zhu?" Sun Qingjun thought for a second and said, "It's gotta be bad. You saw how much he yelled at him." Chu Yang smiled and asked, "Uncle Jun, do you yell at Xiang?" Sun Qingjun didn't hesitate this time, "Of course. Just yelling isn't enough. You gotta lay hands on him too. If I don't smack him around every few days, he'll tear the house down." "And how's your relationship with Xiang?" Sun Qingjun paused. He wasn't dumb, just didn't think about things so much. After Chu Yang's example, it clicked. Leader Zhu controls the office and the money. Gutai's either his guy or someone higher up. Otherwise, he never would have gotten the canteen in the first place. I wasn't letting Gutai off. I was giving the leader some respect. Leader Zhu fined Gutai for buying my fish, not because the town needed it, but because he was doing me a favor. It's not about fighting and killing, it's about who you know. Chapter 96. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After a day on the island, the siblings tackled cleaning up their courtyard, focusing on the fish pond this time. Their fish pond was over a decade old, its cement eroded by seawater, and neglected for too long. It looked like the face of someone pushing 90, all spotted and riddled with holes. The iron drain pipes were rusted and constantly clogged. Chu Yang planned to drain the pond for a couple of days, then recoat it with cement and install a new drain. Most importantly, he wanted to put a cover on it. He didn't want people getting jealous if he started raising lobsters, blue crabs, or giant clams. Covering it up would keep prying eyes away. Out of sight, out of mind, Chu Yang didn't want to be the reason villagers ended up in jail, earning him the community's ire. He opened the drain valve, letting the pond water flow out. As he squatted beside the pond, smoking and waiting for it to empty, Chu Yang suddenly remembered an elementary school math problem. A pool has an inlet and a drain. The inlet fills it in 2 hours, the drain empties it in 6. Starting empty, how long to fill it with both open? When Chu Yang first saw that problem, he wondered what kind of idiot came up with it, wishing he could stick 2 tubes in their head, pouring history in while draining their brain. After a while, the pond was finally drained. Chu Yang crushed his cigarette and jumped in. "Oh, man. What's wrong, brother?" Hearing his shout, She rushed over. She saw Chu Yang stuck in the mud, face and head splattered, and burst out laughing. "Huh." Chu Yang scowled, thinking she was way too amused by his misfortune. He hadn't expected the mud at the bottom to be so thick, nearly reaching his knees. Crunching underfoot were broken shells and crab bits. Luckily, Chu Yang had worn flip-flops, or he'd be risking tetanus. "Quit laughing, hand me the shovel and bucket." The pond was pretty deep, so directly shoveling the mud out wasn't an option. He'd break his arm. They'd have to use buckets. She brought out all the empty buckets she could find, mostly old white latex paint containers. Chu Yang started shoveling. Digging silt was like digging for shells on the beach, but way harder. Soon, Chu Yang felt like he was on fire, hot and suffocated. After filling the last bucket of the first batch, he scrambled out of the pond. He downed a whole pitcher of water. Now, where to dump this stuff? Chu Yang didn't want to haul it away, and dumping it by Old Man Sun's house next door seemed rude. If Lu Tsuexian lived next door, it wouldn't be a problem. Got it. His eyes landed on the garden bed in the corner of the yard. He'd cleared the ground before, but it had been a few days, and some grass was already poking through. The silt from the fish pond, along with the decaying fish and seafood, would make great compost. Chu Yang grabbed a hoe and dug several holes, then poured in the silt and covered it with soil. In a day or two, it would be ready for vegetables. "Hey, Yang, cleaning the pond and fertilizing the garden." Sun Qingjun walked in carrying 2 watermelons, seeing the siblings working hard, and smiled. "Xiaoxi, cut the melons. Your brother and I can handle this." Trading the watermelon for Chu Shi's shovel, Sun Qingjun helped with the fertilizer and soil. With Sun Qingjun helping, the project went much faster. "Yang, that pond needs some work." Sun Qingjun quickly cleared the remaining silt and rinsed the pond. It looked better, but the holes and cracks were obvious. "I was planning to fix it." Chu Yang told Sun Qingjun his plan. "It's time. By the way, when I fixed the pig pen, I got an extra pipe. You can use it for the drain." He pulled out his phone and made a call. 5 minutes later, Sun Xiang ran into the yard with a 6-foot-long white pipe on his shoulder. "Brother, got you a pipe." Chu Yang saw it was a modern PVC pipe. This stuff was lightweight, heat-resistant, corrosion-resistant, and cheap, used everywhere. "Thanks, you didn't have to do that." "Don't you have homework?" Chu Yang took the pipe and leaned it against the wall. He couldn't install it today. First, he had to dig out the old pipe and widen the outlet for the bigger pipe. Sun Xiang scratched his head and laughed. He wasn't about to tell his friend he was avoiding homework. She brought out cut watermelon. Sun Xiang grabbed 2 big pieces, one for his friend, one for his dad. "Eat up, then get back to homework," Sun Qingjun said, taking a bite of watermelon. Sun Xiang immediately wanted to grab the watermelon back. That was cold, destroying the bridge after crossing the river. He looked pleadingly at Chu Yang. Chu Yang understood immediately and smiled. "Relax, Uncle Jun, let him have a break today. Cramming doesn't work. I'll bring him some practice tests when I go to the city." Sun Qingjun's eyes lit up. "That's great." Chu Yang was the island's first college grad. His word on education was law. "Yes." Sun Xiang jumped for joy. Shoveling mud and carrying water at his friend's house was way better than doing homework. As long as he could avoid homework, he'd clean the septic tank, but Sun Xiang was also a little worried. The practice test thing was just to humor his dad, right? It wasn't real. "Chu Yang, how about the Princeton Review or Kaplan?" "Sun Xiang, you know there's no real love in the world. I hate you, bro." Chapter 97. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It took all day to clean the fish pond and level the garden. Chu Yang was beat, his hands and feet were shaking. If he wasn't so far from the city, he'd have told that technician exactly what he thought of him. He barely touched his dinner, just a bowl of seafood dumpling soup, and then collapsed on the bed. playing dead, staring at the ceiling. He watched the old, light green, rusty ceiling fan creak around and around. It was blowing a gale up there. Chu Yang worried that the thing would fall while he was asleep one night and whack his head off, just like some kind of ninja weapon. Watching the fan, his eyes started to blur. He tilted his head and drifted off. Lovers love, no need to measure how deep, why rush something that's meant to linger? Maybe I pushed too hard. The phone woke him up after 10 p.m., Chu Yang had just changed his ringtone. The song was Too Tight, written by Lin Shi, composed by Huang Dani, and sung by Wu Yufei. It was a great love song, right up Chu Yang's alley. A lot of people might not remember the singer, but her stuff was top-notch. Too Tight hit number 2 on the year's top 10 list. Number 1 was Zhang Jingxuan's Love, and number 3 was Dr. Chen's Under Mount Fuji. She also sang the theme song for that old fairy tale, Love for Life. Of course, Chu Yang liked her because she was talented, not because he was hot for her. Hello? He said, picking up the phone. Why so long to answer? What were you doing? On the other end, Caillou, in cartoon pajamas, was lying on her bed, hugging a white rabbit doll and tossing and turning on her mattress. Sleeping. What else would I be doing at this hour? Chu Yang yawned, still half out of it. Bed so early tonight? Yeah, worked like a dog all day. Chu Yang replied, barely keeping his eyes open. The conversation was pretty pointless, but for a girl in love, just hearing her crush breathe was enough. After talking for half an hour, and arguing for 10 minutes about who would hang up first, Caillou finally gave in. The only important thing he learned was that Caillou was coming with her dad, so Chu Yang didn't have to pick her up. So the next morning, Chu Yang grabbed his bags, took the ferry into the city, and then caught a taxi at the dock. How much to Huaqiaonu village? The motorcycle taxi driver, a greasy middle-aged guy, looked Chu Yang up and down, figured he was a tourist, and said, 80. Come on, man, what are you trying to pull? You think I was born yesterday? Chu Yang switched to the local dialect and laid into him. Alright, didn't know you were local. $30, get on, get on. At Huaqiaonu village, the driver dropped Chu Yang off, grabbed the cash, and sped off like a bat out of hell. Jerk, terrible service. Chu Yang flipped him off and silently wished him a flat tire. He walked to the courtyard gate, bag in hand, and rang the bell. Ding Shizhong came out, saw the bag, and frowned. Yang, you know we don't do gifts when we're just eating together. Chu Yang grinned. Caught some fish in the pond yesterday. Figured you could use them, Uncle Ding, so I brought them over. Ding Shizhong's face relaxed. He took the bag and peeked inside. 2 big black crabs, close to a pound each, and 4 brown crabs, even bigger, and all still fresh, good stuff. Unless you knew someone, it was hard to find crabs that big. Okay, I'll take M. Come on in for some tea. Ding's tea was top shelf, the real Mingxian Longjing. It got its name because it was picked between mid-March and right before Qingming. At that time, the Longjing tea buds just start to grow, looking like lotus hearts, so Mingxian Longjing was also called Jade Lotus Heart. They said the best pickers could only get about half a pound of raw tea a day, and it took at least 36,000 buds to make a pound of dried tea. Chu Yang doubted the story. All high-end stuff had some tall tale attached to make it sound fancier, like Xinyang Maojian, picked by virgin lips, or Cuban cigars, rolled on virgin thighs. Chu Yang decided that when he got famous, he'd go fishing. If he caught anything, he'd say it was a strawberry-flavored fish, caught by a supermodel. Anyway, time for tea. Smell it, look at it, taste it. It was just like the Preaching Longjing he remembered, brand new stuff on the market, all right. He'd drink it while it was hot. You drink tea often, Yang? Thought guys your age were all about soda and coffee. Ding Shizhong chuckled. The old ways are still the best. Can't get used to that foreign stuff, Chu Yang said. Actually, he was full of it. Back in the day, he'd loved soda, the kind of guy who drank Coke like water. But he'd grown up, gotten married, and everyone he dealt with drank booze or tea, so he'd changed his ways. Tea's good. Tea's good for you. Young guys don't get it now, but when they're my age, they'll understand. Ding Shizhong patted his stomach as he said it. Chu Yang, uncle, tea's good for you, but it doesn't do much for virility. After some tea, a car horn blared in the yard. Peeking through the window, Chu Yang saw 5 or 6 cars pulling into the driveway, a whole convoy: Mercedes, Toyota Crown, Lexus LS 400, BMW 7, Lincoln Town Car, all classic luxury cars from China's early days. No sign of Kai Yu's Raptor, though. Probably not the right occasion. She'd come in her dad's car. Ding Shizhong stood up to greet his guests, and Chu Yang tagged along. He was curious who the big shot had invited. He wasn't disappointed. He recognized some faces he'd seen a lot on the internet in the future, like Ding Shizhong's older brother, Ding Shijia, the future VP of Amine, the table tennis star Kong Linghui, and a bunch of guys and gals who looked like big bosses. Too bad the internet wasn't bigger now. If he could just snap a couple of pictures and sell them to some magazine, he could make a killing. Chu Yang, he heard someone call his name. Looking up, he saw Kai Yu standing by the Lincoln Town Car, waving. Next to her, a middle-aged guy in a traditional jacket was clutching some prayer beads, staring at him. Chapter 98. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey, Dad, this is Chu Yang. He turned to Chu Yang. Dad, this is Chu Yang. Chu Yang smiled, met the older man's appraising gaze, and said politely, "Hello, Mr. Kai." "Yeah." Mr. Kai grunted in response. "Dad." Kai Yu squeezed his arm, giving him a pointed look. Mr. Kai reluctantly managed a smile, extending his hand. "Hello, Chu Yang." Chu Yang shook his hand briefly, then released it. The air felt a bit thick. Luckily, Kai Yu steered her dad away. "Go have tea with your friends, Dad. We won't keep you from catching up with everyone." Mr. Kai's lip twitched. Suddenly, a chill ran down his back. What the heck? Is it leaking in here? As soon as her dad turned, Kai Yu grabbed Chu Yang's hand and held it naturally. "Don't mind my dad, Chu Yang. He's always been like this. No guy ever got too close to me growing up." Chu Yang just nodded, understanding. It's a big world. You've got your mama's boys, your sister obsessives, and your daddy's girls. It's all out there. I just hope Kai Yu doesn't start bawling when her dad ships her off someday. A shiver went down his spine as he imagined the middle-aged man sobbing. He shook his head to clear the image. Though Ding Shizhong was hosting, many guests were friends with the Kai family and recognized Kai Yu. Seeing her all cozy with a pretty average-looking guy, they were curious and snuck glances at them. Chu Yang had a thick skin. Nerves weren't in his vocabulary. Why do people get nervous? Because they lack confidence. Me. Chu Yang. A reborn dude, blessed with luck, and a system to boot. Money's coming my way, but Kai Yu was a little more self-conscious. It's a girl thing. Uncle Ding has some gorgeous bonsai in the backyard. Let's go check them out. Chu Yang shrugged as Kai Yu pulled him toward the backyard. It was a small garden with bonsai, like podocarpus, black pines, and banyan trees. Vines climbed the walls, and a small gazebo sat among the plants. After they walked around, Kai Yu pulled Chu Yang to the gazebo bench, bent over, and gently rubbed her ankles. Chu Yang lifted her feet and placed them on his lap, reaching for her shoes. "What?" Kai Yu pulled back, a little shy. Chu Yang grinned. "You got foot fungus or something?" "You're the one with foot fungus," Kai Yu retorted. "Hong Kong foot. You have foot fungus." Miss Kai was getting annoyed. Such a pig. I could punch him, even though she was a delicate beauty, and even her poop didn't stink, there was no way she could have athlete's foot. "Why are you freaking out then?" "I'm not." "Here, have at it. See if I have foot fungus." Kai Yu kicked her heels a few feet away and peeled off her lacy socks, then extended her legs for Chu Yang to inspect. Her feet were flawless, with tiny pores, fair skin, and faint blue veins. Her 5 toes, painted with light pink nail polish, looked irresistible. Chu Yang held her feet, rubbing them gently, his fingers occasionally grazing the soles. Caillou squirmed. Tickles. Stop it. Rub them, they're killing me in these heels. Chu Yang let go, placing his fingers on her smooth ankle and massaging it gently. Mm. Caillou hummed. After a moment with her eyes closed, she said, not bad. Chu Yang chuckled. Of course. Before he could brag, Caillou changed the subject. Have you massaged other girls' feet before? Women's brains, star. Cough. Chu Yang choked. Girl, your sudden interrogation almost broke my back, star. I took a class in college, Chu Yang said. He wasn't about to admit he learned from a masseuse. Really, it just takes practice to memorize the pressure points. They have massage electives in college? Caillou asked, surprised. My elective was postpartum recovery. Why can't I massage feet? Chu Yang said confidently. Caillou playfully kicked him. You're such a pain. Chu Yang's hands were busy. He located the Yongquan point and pressed it hard with his thumb. Ah! Caillou shuddered. 20 minutes later, someone called them for dinner, and they walked back to the living room to find 2 large round tables. Chu Yang instinctively pulled Caillou to the smaller table. Several people were already seated. A woman in flashy jewelry looked at Caillou, then Chu Yang, and smiled. Well, who's this young man? He's got Miss Kai all smitten. Though polite, her words were laced with teasing. The other people at the table turned to Chu Yang. These young socialites were all in the same circle. They scrutinized Chu Yang, especially the eligible bachelors. The Kai family was a force to be reckoned with, and Caillou was the belle of the ball in terms of family, looks, and charm. The men were waiting for Caillou to grow up and for Mr. Kai to give his blessing, but this swan had been snatched up by some average Joe. Nobody liked that. Now that someone had spoken up, everyone waited to see how it played out. Chapter 99. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What, young lady, young master? Caillou shot back. Wang Jiejia, you're still so dramatic. You must read too many romance novels. She glanced at Chu Yang, a little worried. She knew what the others at the table were thinking. Just because you're sitting next to someone at dinner doesn't mean you're friends, especially the women, who saw Caillou as competition. It was the same reason the other girls in class weren't thrilled about the popular girl. Now that the Ice Queen was supposedly struggling and dating a regular guy, they were jumping at the chance to tease her. Chu Yang was the one taking the heat, but Chu Yang. Heat? What heat? He didn't feel any pressure. These kids were playing games he was tired of in a past life. Ahem. He cleared his throat, drawing everyone's attention. He scanned the table, stopping on Wang Jiejia. Jiejia, right? Funny, Yu never mentioned you. Since you're all Yu's friends, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Chu Yang, from Nyoto Ferry in Shirtang Town, and I'm Caillou's boyfriend. Hearing Chu Yang's bold declaration, Caillou's eyes locked on him. Comrade Lao Kai, sitting further up the table, didn't look too happy. He glared at Chu Yang. Wang Jiejia, stung by Chu Yang's smooth response, sneered. Nyoto Ferry in Shirtang Town. Sounds like the sticks. You're not some island fisherman, are you? That she meant to mock him, but he just nodded. You're sharp, Miss Wang. You nailed it. Wait, you're really a fisherman? Wang Jiejia gawked, turning to Caillou. You're dating a fisherman? Another woman, with long, reddish-brown curly hair, chimed in. We were all betting on what kind of guy Caillou, the goddess, would end up with. Some said a business mogul, others a political hotshot, professors, scholars. But we all lost. To a fisherman, she laughed, and the others joined in, filling the air with amusement. Yeah, I'm a fisherman, Chu Yang said, his face darkening, but is that supposed to be funny? Ha ha ha. Fisherman. Isn't it hilarious? Caillou. She found a fisherman. What do you think? Funny or not? Zhou Qian, lay off, Caillou snapped, blushing. These people were laughing at her man to his face. Unforgivable, Zhou Qian, the curly-haired woman, didn't care. She was having a blast. She and Caillou went way back, same age, same class since grade school. Zhou Qian thought she was pretty and came from a decent family, but everyone always talked about Caillou. She remembered in 8th grade, the school heartthrob, Xiao Ziming, started being nice to her, bringing her snacks and drinks. One day, he asked her out and brought flowers. Zhou Qian thought love was in the air and dragged him to the school gate so everyone could see, but what did Xiao Ziming say? I'm sorry, Zhou, you're great, but I like Caillou. Could you give her these flowers and letters? That it hit her like a ton of bricks. She froze, wanting to die as she saw the knowing smirks on the faces of her classmates. She'd never forget it. And now, Caillou had sabotaged herself with a fisherman. She was going to get her revenge. Enough! A shout came from the head table. A middle-aged man with a receding hairline stood up, pointing at Zhou Qian. It's your Uncle Ding's wedding reception. No need to make a scene. Shut it. Zhou Qian's laughter died down. Dad, why are you yelling at me? Because you're clueless. What's wrong with being a fisherman? I'm a fisherman myself. The middle-aged man winked. Zhou Qian was still confused, but Wang Jiejia pointed to Ding Shizhong, who was sitting at the head of the upper table. Ding Shizhong looked like thunder and sat there without a word. Then it clicked. The host, Uncle Ding, had been a fisherman growing up. His whole family were fishermen. Mocking fishermen was like mocking him and his ancestors. No wonder her dad was furious. He was hoping to get in good with Uncle Ding's family, realizing she'd just insulted her maybe future ancestors in front of her maybe future father-in-law. Zhou Qian wanted to vanish. What do I do? The others at the table figured it out too, and now they looked at Chu Yang with fear. Damn it, Lao Lu, you set us up. You're trying to get us killed. Everyone except Caillou had been laughing. Dad. Mom. Uncle. They looked to their parents, who looked just like Zhou's dad. Each parent wanted to smack their kid, not because they feared offending Ding Shizhong, but because they were so dumb. Chu Yang had fooled them with a simple trick. If they ever took over the family business, they'd ruin it in a heartbeat. Only Comrade Kai, watching Chu Yang, didn't know what to think. Happy? Worried? Could his daughter handle this sly fox? But seeing the look in Caillou's eyes, he relaxed. Whatever happens, happens. It's probably pointless to disagree. As long as he treated his daughter well, maybe having a cunning son-in-law was better than a stupid one. All the other kids thought. Uncle Kai, are you talking about me? Chapter 100. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The vibe in the Ding family restaurant was a little tense. A great banquet, but the host was pissed. Go figure. Luckily, things got moving when the nanny started bringing out the food. Ding Shizhong couldn't keep a straight face any longer, so he plastered on a smile and told everyone to dig in. Come on, eat up. The crabs are super fresh. They were in the water yesterday, pulled from the pond this morning, and cooked up by noon. As the guy who'd caused all the awkwardness, Chu was suddenly Mr. Sociable, urging the young people at the table to chow down. Seriously? Who wants to eat after what you pulled? Especially Zhou Qian. She was beyond hungry. She was craving Chu Yang stew. What's wrong? Lost your appetite? Chu Yang asked with a grin that made Wang Jiejia and Zhou Qian want to know how thick his skin really was. Several of the young guys were nodding in agreement, though, maybe after they got rid of the pantyhose. Fine, we'll just eat it ourselves. Chu Yang plopped a king crab into his bowl, cracked it open, gave its legs a little massage, tore them off, and scooped a spoonful of rich crab paste into his mouth. Delicious. He didn't spare the black pomfret either. This fish was pricey. A decent-sized one could set you back over $100. Chu Yang couldn't afford to eat it often. Hey, Yo-Yo, don't just sit there. If they're not hungry, we gotta help finish this grub. Try this, I caught it yesterday. So tender. Chu Yang plucked the biggest piece of fish neck meat and dropped it into Caillou's bowl, winking at him. Caillou choked back a laugh, glaring at Chu Yang. This guy was ruthless. He stabs you in the back and then acts like nothing happened. You'd think someone would have tossed him in a dumpster by now. Okay, quit loading me up. Seeing Chu Yang still picking out the best, most expensive bits to put in his bowl, Caillou quickly told him to cut it out. The others at the table watched the two of them putting on a show, eating like there was no tomorrow, and they felt even worse. Seriously. You screw things up and then act like nothing happened, stuffing your face while the rest of us are miserable and hungry. Finally, one of the trust fund kids snapped, grabbing his chopsticks. Guys, come on, let's eat. Are you really not hungry? That the others, relieved, finally started to eat, but, surprise, it turned out that while they were sulking, someone had been busy making the food disappear. How was there only a fish head left on the black pomfret? How were there still over 20 legs on the king crab platter? And that bowl of crab shells in front of Caillou, didn't it look suspiciously like the bird's nest soup with rock sugar and donkey hide gelatin that had been there a minute ago? Chu Yang could only give him a thumbs up. Impressive eye, my dude. Not that he'd actually finished it all, there was still a ton of food, like the fruit salad, veggie platters, stir-fried greens, stewed potatoes. Chu Yang had left those alone. These young guys needed to watch their figures. These were low in oil and salt, a healthy choice. See how thoughtful Chu Yang was. Screw you. Zhou Qian slammed down her chopsticks. I'm done. She was fuming. Damn fishmonger. Of course, whether she ate or not didn't affect Chu Yang's appetite one bit. A meal, a truly epic meal. Too bad no one was offering to buy Chu Yang a drink. He had to take the opportunity to toast at the table and knock back a couple of glasses of the good stuff. Seeing him drain two 230 milliliters, almost 8 ounces, glasses of 53 proof Matai and stroll back steady as a rock, the two trust fund bros who'd been about to say something just exchanged a look and shut their traps. Damn, this guy was a wino, better not mess with him. After dinner, it was time for some entertainment. These guys kept it classy, cards and mahjong. The young folks clearly weren't into it, or at least not into playing cards with a bunch of middle-aged dudes. They peeled out of the ding place, making promises to catch up later. Caillou grabbed Chu Yang, planning to bail. Rather than play mahjong with the old man, it'd be way better if they hopped in a car and found some secluded spot. Ahem. But Chu Yang wasn't leaving. As soon as the two of them walked up to Ding Shizhong to say goodbye, they were cornered. Hey, Yang, I just need one more to make it a foursome. Come on, fill in. Chu Yang looked at Caillou, doing his best awkward face. Okay, since Uncle Ding wants you, go ahead and play for a bit. Caillou pouted. But Uncle Ding, you better not mess with him. He's new to this. Ding Shizhong grinned. Don't worry, we're all family here. It's no big deal. The card room was right next to the restaurant. Chu Yang followed Ding Shizhong inside and saw that all the seats were taken by people he recognized. Uncle Kai, Uncle Zheng. Chu Yang greeted them with a smile. Comrade Lao Kai nodded coolly, but Uncle Zheng waved enthusiastically. Come on, sit down and keep Uncle Zheng company today. Chu Yang obediently took the west seat, putting Uncle Zheng to his left, Comrade Lao Kai to his right, and Ding Shizhong across from him. The game started, and Uncle Zheng explained the rules to Chu Yang. They were playing Quanqing local mahjong, with dark gold, no flower tiles, 100 chips each, and 100 yuan per chip. The winnings and losses in this game would only be a few thousand, which, for these guys, was indeed no big deal. Soon the game was underway. Yang, when are you heading out to sea again? The good stuff in the restaurant is running low. Uncle Zheng, dealing the cards, asked as he sorted his hand. Soon. The weather looks good for the next week. Should be tomorrow or the day after. Trying to be back before the typhoon hits. 6 of bamboo. Chu Yang answered, playing a tile. Eat. Comrade Lao Kai, the next player, said coolly. Only a few days, can you even catch anything decent? 9 of 10,000. Uncle Kai's the expert. Who can guarantee a catch at sea? It's all luck. But I've always been lucky. Right, Uncle Zheng. 9 of bamboo. Eat. Comrade Lao Kai played 2 more tiles, this time giving Chu Yang a longer look. Uncle Zheng glanced over and chuckled. You can eat even a lone tile. You're not just lucky, you've got skills too. Comrade Lao Kai smiled slightly. You're the one who put him in that spot. What's wrong, Lao Zheng? It's just 100 yuan mahjong game. Are you worried? 3 of 10,000. Uncle Zheng shook his head. Well, he was butting into other people's business. Let the father-in-law and son-in-law duke it out. Yao Ji. He tossed out a tile. Ha, I win. Comrade Lao Kai flipped over his tiles, grinning. Chu Yang followed close behind. Sorry, Uncle Zheng. I win too. Uncle Zheng craned his neck to take a look, and his face went dark. Hey, the freaking Yao Ji can be taken out twice. Are you two teaming up on me? Comrade Lao Kai laughed. I'm playing with you today. What's wrong? Pay up.